Show of hands of the other procrastinators who sometimes do their best work at the very last moment. Maybe you come up with your best ideas as you're falling asleep at night or on your drive into the thing, that time you drive from the time you leave your house to do the thing that you have to do. I get to substitute art again today, and I should have come up with an idea days ago, but it has been very busy. And so at the very last moment, I was like, well, this is reading week. This is Read Across America week. St. Patrick's Day is next week or the following week. We somehow combine the two. By the way, I somehow almost messed up the Italian flag and the Irish flag today. Irish is green, white, and orange. Italy is green, white, and red. I am sorry. I'm not an official formally trained teacher, nor am I an official formally trained artist, but somehow I keep getting enlisted to do the art teacher substitute, and I really enjoy it. So I try to come up with something that I can make work for K through 6, which is really kind of a challenge if you know the sophistication level of like what kindergartners are able to do versus what 6th graders are able to do. Like they're all the way up in middle school, so I try to find something that can be altered a little bit but still work for all of the grades without driving me nuts. So today I'm having them do reading themed, book themed crafts. This is just a green construction paper background with white and orange swirls so that we've got the Irish flag colors. And it's a shamrock, get it? Reading rocks. This is a demo I did. It actually has a whole bunch of stuff about like nuclear bombs. It happened to be the first page I turned to in this 1946 Information Please Almanac. I've got a lot of books at home and some of them have gotten water damage. So rather than throwing this away, I actually did pull this off of a garbage on my porch. I'm like, that's gonna work perfectly. I've been taking a utility knife and just cutting out pages for people to use. They are to take something interesting. I'm trying to be very careful to avoid, the super negative stuff from 1946. And they are to take the pages and cut out like the interesting parts, paste them onto a shamrock, and then cut off the excess in the background. This is the demo I did before I realized I was messing up with the colors. And it's kind of cool to be able to like cut apart a book and rip it apart, but make something really cool and useful out of it because we're always told, don't rip books, don't write in books, and those are some very important rules, but it's also important to be able to like take something as sacred as a book and turn it into artwork when they're allowed to. Constraints, rules. Kids love rules because it keeps them guided. Sometimes you can break rules and that's fun, like ripping apart a book, but when you do it in a controlled manner, I think that's like a little meta lesson that you can teach kids. Is meta lesson a term? I didn't go to school for this. I'm also giving them a bit of a history lesson about what St. Patrick's Day is, and no one really knows fully 100% what St. Patrick's Day is, but there's a lot of mythology that surrounds the St. Patrick's Day myths and legends. TLDR, what we know for sure was that St. Patrick was from not Ireland, was captured by Ireland, lived there for a while he was young, and then moved back. He was like a shepherd in Ireland, and then he went back home and then he became a Christian missionary. And I say that, although I'm not a Christian, I say he was a Christian missionary, moved back to Ireland to spread the word of his belief, which was Christianity. And the important piece that I was quizzing them about is like, why do we celebrate it in the United States? Of all of the customs and things that we have from Europe and other countries, why here? Why in the United States do we celebrate St. Patrick's Day so much? Why do we know about leprechauns? Why do we know about green? We don't care about other cultures, I didn't say that, but like, why is St. Pat such a big day? Immigrants. It was the Irish immigrants who came over as laborers. They built our railroads and dug our canals and were like housemaids. They were coal miners here in Pennsylvania. They were steel workers. And here in Elkland, they ran the tanneries along with some other ethnic groups. We still have areas of the town that are like labeled as where the Irish lived. It was the immigrants from Ireland who brought their customs and beliefs and traditions over into this country, and we still celebrate it to this day. And like now it's all commercialized and we drink green beer and wear green glitter. I didn't get into the persecution of the Druids, the intellectuals, but the seed has been planted. Part of the myth of St. Patrick is that he used the 3 leaves on the shamrock to represent the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, but that is kind of unsubstantiated and kind of like a later on myth. A very big thing I'm teaching them, ecologically speaking, were there snakes in Ireland at the time of St. Patrick? No, because there was an ice age, and reptiles are exothermic, and reptiles can't survive in an ice age, and Ireland is separated from the mainland. It's its own little island, and it was frozen. We do see some cold-adapted reptiles and amphibians, and that's because they're viviparous instead of oviparous. They don't lay their eggs, and giving live birth is one way that you can combat cold. Plus, there are some areas of Ireland that are warmer than the others. The oceans came up, flooded the land bridge between Britain and Ireland, and it cut off most other animals. And that's why Ireland has comparatively low biodiversity compared to other areas of the world. I have a class coming. And the littler kids, kindergarten and first, are not quite sophisticated enough with the scissor skills to complete this project in the time allotted, so we are going to just cut and paste. We're still going to do the Irish flag theme background, and I've cut out a bunch of parts from my atlas, and I'm going to see if they can make the lettering. I just had someone tell me, have a good day. I said, yeah, you have a spectacular day. She looked back at me and said, don't worry, you'll figure it out. Hashtag sublife. This book was published in the early 1900s, if you can believe that or not. Can you see that? The pages are so old and brittle that when you go to fold them, they actually rip and tear and crumble. I cut up some little hearts. I played a game where I don't lift up my crayon. If you see a word that you like that you glue to your paper, go ahead and circle it with a pencil.
I'm ready. Did you take a picture of mine?